What's up, everybody, and welcome to the video. So I'm in the truck warming up, and yeah, it's cold and I didn't bring enough clothes, so I'm going to answer another subscriber question. This one comes to us from Justin Baker. So Justin Baker says, deep lakes without much shallow cover. Center Hill in Cookeville, Tennessee, for example. Dale Hollow, another example. The question is how to maximize your time in a kayak catching fish, even on the Highland reservoirs. Thanks, Chad. All right, so Justin, here's the way that I approach fishing those types of bodies of water. I spend a lot of time on Navionics. I spend a lot of time on the Navico charts. I spend a lot of time on insights and using the tools that are available to me to start to kind of find some stuff. So depending on the time of the year, right now in the fall, I'm looking for throats. I'm looking for, places where the fish are narrowed down, whether that is, or funneled, where the bait fish is coming through. So the creek mouths are a big place right now. And not creek mouth like you think of a little creek with a little opening. Creek mouths meaning, an arm of the lake. That is a creek mouth, and as that leads into the actual creek itself, I'm looking for bluff walls are really good this time of year, especially the ones that are, west facing, so they're going to get sun all the way till sunset. I do really well on those, especially if they're not super deep. I don't do as well on the ones that are super deep until later in the winter, but those ones that are somewhere in the 8 to 12 foot range, I'll throw a Senko or a wacky rigged plastic or drop shot up against it and fish it until I find what depth that those fish are hanging at. But really what I do the best on is offshore stuff that time of year, meaning, finding those humps, those ditches, those trenches. One thing in particular that I do really well on Dale Hollow is finding rock ridges. And then the other thing that I'll just say that works really well for me on those Highland reservoirs is downsizing my baits, whether that is a shaky head, a Nico rig, a small drop shot, but especially in the fall when I'm fishing those Highland reservoirs, at least until I locate quality fish, I like to downsize my bait. When I downsize my bait on those types of bodies of water, it builds my confidence. It lets me know that I'm in the right area for fish, or if I'm catching tons of dinks, it lets me know that I'm in the wrong area and I need to rethink my game plan. So, Justin, it's real simple. Spend a lot of time before you go out fishing. Find the places to launch to maximize your amount of fishing time and minimize the amount of time that you're going to have to transit to the fishing spot, and break the lake down into upper, mid lake, and lower lake. And again, fish those as they're appropriate for the time of the year. Mid to lower lake in the summertime, mid lake in the both transitions in fall and spring, and then the upper part of the lake in the late fall into early winter, and then the winter down into the late winter, and as you're transitioning into spring when they start to move back to mid lake. Points do really well, but everybody fishes points, so I try to steer clear of those points because they get a lot of boat traffic, especially on the bodies of water that you mentioned. But find those little throats, meaning there's two humps and there's a depression in the middle of them that bait are going to use as a travel corridor. Hard bends on the creeks, and then I just paddle the creek edge, zigzagging back and forth until I find that structure on the structure, or that cover on the structure, spot on the spot, maybe a tree sticking off the edge, or maybe a boulder or something like that those fish are going to orient themselves to. And I fish downsized baits that time of year, and in those types of reservoirs, and generally they're going to have clearer water, and so I like to downsize my baits except in extreme low light, either daytime, early morning, late evening, or even night fishing. And I think that probably one of the most underrated types of fishing is night fishing. So I'll actually link up the night fishing video in the description box below, so you guys can go check that out. But I don't just night fish in the summertime. I really like to night fish in the fall, especially the early fall when you get those first few cool fronts, because the water is getting colder at night. It's invigorating those fish. It's letting them know biologically you've got to put on weight. You've got to eat. You've got to consume calories to survive the harsh winter that's coming. And so therefore those fish take advantage of every feeding time that they can. And by virtue of just the law of averages, as your days get shorter and shorter, more of your feeding time, more of your activity periods are going to be at night based on the moon phase. So I fish power fishing presentations during the peak times, and the off-peak times I fish lighter, kind of more finesse type presentations, stuff that sits still, stuff that doesn't move, and stuff that's a little more compact. I may downsize my jig, I may downsize my worm, I may downsize my shaky head, and stay in those areas where things are compact. And as much as I hate to admit it, I fish a Ned rig on those places so that I can find fish, can build my confidence in knowing that they're there, and then I'll go to fishing something that's a little more fun, because I'm not a big, you guys know I'm not a super big fan of the Ned rig, but you know, it gets the job done and it works. So there's times when you just kind of have to bite the bullet and do what works. So anyway, hope y'all love the video. Give the video a big thumbs up. I'm going to warm up a little bit, let my nose stop running, and then get back out on the water. So love y'all. See you next time.